go around for more stories, and then we can open up to crosstalk. So stories, they have characters, they have a setting, they have a beginning, a middle, and they have an end. They're not arguments, they're not analysis, they're not opinions, they're not rants, they're not sermons, they're not lectures or explanations. They are stories. So just tell the story, not how we should interpret it, but tell your own personal story. You are telling a personal story about something that you have experienced. At the same time, you're contributing to a story that we call happens in the middle. As we share our story, we create more stories, and they become a middle story. Don't think about your story in advance. Just wait and listen. And we ask people to listen very intently. No cross-talking, no commenting on other people's stories. Everyone in the room participates, including me. No one enters or exits the room during the story circle. Usually it's closed in. In case of emergency, do whatever you have to do. What the story circle does is equalize the playing field. I asked you your name and the neighborhood that you relate to, and that's it. So we're all equal here, and we're sharing a story. So I came up with this prompt. Share a personal story in which you experienced a sense of inclusion or exclusion within your built-in environment, where roads, bridges, and streetscaping occur. Share a personal story in which you experienced a sense of inclusion or exclusion within your built-in environment, with roads, bridges, streetscapes, and those kinds of things that other people design. Any questions? Are we clear with the prompt? Are we ready to go? Okay. So again, the formal process is to sit with. Anybody want to start at any time?
Hi, I'm Ben Marks. I'm from Ridgeway Delight. We are to the immediate east of here, on the other side of Martin Luther King Boulevard. Our neighborhood, my story is basically about some of the ways that our neighborhood relates to one another and the way in which we relate to our other neighborhoods on the other side of the boulevard. We're all neighbors, but we often do cleanups in our neighborhood, and it's great to see my neighbors coming together to clean up a sidewalk or a corner because we take pride in our neighborhood. We take pride in being part of the community between us and our circle. The disconnect for me personally, and probably for others as well, is while we're doing what we can for Ridgeway's Delight, there's almost a not necessarily coming together to do all that we can on the median, the boulevard of Martin Luther King Boulevard. I feel terribly disconnected from the folks at the intersection. The past 10 days, we've had encampments setting up on the intersection. And as great as I feel for doing good work for Ridgely's, and my neighbors feel about cleaning up, we don't want to be telling people that they can't set up an encampment. We want to help those people. And it's a sense of helplessness when it comes down to what can we do. And so the choices are, or have been presented to us as, call the city's services or call the police. And it was interesting to see how different neighbors, different communities have different takes on the matter depending on what their constituents, their residents tell them. So for the last 2 weeks, picked up the phone and called the city's homeless services because none of us really felt that we could just pick up the phone and call BPD or DPW and ask them to clean up a problem that hopefully the city would have its own resources to do. The best part of what we do is when I interact with neighbors from Ridgely's, from Pigtown, from Berry Circle, from folks in the Southwest Partnership, but it's a tough, challenging paradigm, a tough, challenging set of ideas of what can we do about the challenges of the intersection, and what does that say about us as a community. That's my story.
And you want to pass to the left?
So there was a period of time in my life where I felt a sense of exclusion, living as a homeless person through a set of circumstances that wasn't anyone's fault. My family didn't want me anymore, and I wasn't really old enough to rent an apartment at the time. And so I really had no choice but to be on the streets for a period of about 2 months. The period of time was probably the most traumatic for me because I experienced what people thought of me like I was a piece of garbage, like I didn't matter, and that my needs weren't important, and really I was just a nuisance to them. Over time, I gained, Over time, I gained housing again and was able to get back on my feet, and now I'm a college student at Morgan State University. But I'll never forget the time when people felt like I didn't matter.
Okay. Well, first of all, let me congratulate you on the elevation in your life.
And so you cannot comment on anybody's story. Just share your
All
story.
Well, with regard to me and coming to Pigtown, at the time that I came to Pigtown, our family, my wife was still with me on earth. We came to Pigtown at the time when they were doing the dollhouse program. And it gave us a sense of purpose to be able to start what you might call a journey in a community that, and I use the word community because it was indeed a feeling of community. We were close, we were sort of all on a slightly level playing field and having to bring the community up at that time, back in the 70s. The area that we call Berry Circle, and the Pigtown in general, was on its own journey. That was the time that there was a vacant industrial site. Many people may not remember it, and it may date me, but there was a vacant place called Coppers. That's how long ago it was. Over time, as things happen, our community has grown, our community has changed. That feeling of community, togetherness, while there are residents there who still try to maintain the sense of community and closeness, due to the fact that I guess that people have moved in and other people have moved out, we transitioned from what I feel is, I guess, for me personally, a feeling of closeness. The community to me has transitioned into a situation where I feel that there are what you might call social bubbles. I think there is what you might call we're beginning to get a bit of classness in our community. And how does that relate to Martin Luther King Boulevard? Well, back in the day that I speak about our transition there, Washington Boulevard didn't exist at the time. There was a little street called Fremont Avenue. And at the time, again, a sense of community existed there, not only in our little community, but on Boulevard in general. But after the Boulevard installation, I feel that that had somewhat of an impact on us, and that the Boulevard kind of created a demarcation between us on the west side and the downtown area. And personally speaking, I did notice a slight downturn in services and things like that. That at the time I was trying to determine, did this come about as an organic event, or was the installation of the Boulevard potentially used and engineered as a way of making a demarcation and marginalizing, shall we say, people to the west of the Boulevard? And I've come to my own conclusion.
So, sir, because of the size of the circle,